Major break in the case of a woman who was murdered in the parking lot of the Tukwila Costco last year. Federal agents say they tracked down the accused shooter in Africa. Tonight, the family of a woman who was shot and killed while loading groceries into her car got to see her accused killer for the first time.
Here we go again with another episode of Fugitive TV. We are back. And now I'm your host, Mr. 15-year on the run fugitive. Yeah. Y'all don't know the story. I was on the run for 15 years, so I break down some of these other fugitives and pretty much where they went wrong, what mistakes they did, maybe what they could have did better to stay on the run. But check this out. I grew up watching friends die, friends go to jail. I thought that would never be me, till the day I decided to pawn a TV that my friend gave me. That TV ended up being stolen. One thing led to another. Going in and out of jail, I escaped twice. I started one of the biggest crime rings in the state. 10 years it gave me. My 3-year-old son passed away during this process. I could not take it, so I went on the run for 15 years. Different countries, different names, I did it all. My life has been something you only read about in books, but this is nonfiction. This is me.
The first victim of January 26, 2024 was right here at 9th Avenue and Howe Street. She said that she got rear-ended, and when she got out to exchange information with the other driver, a man put a gun in her face, stole her car keys, and then took off in her SUV. And that's where the first video picks up. As Seattle police raced into the area, an officer's dash camera was recording when he said he saw that stolen Porsche SUV going east on Mercer Street.
So these two kids, right? They're both 19 years old. They start going on pretty much a crime spree. And I think both of them are from Africa. We know one of them for sure is from Africa, but I'm guessing both from Africa. And they come over, and when they come over, or we don't know how long they've been over, right? But they decide one day we're gonna go on this crime spree, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. So on this crime spree, they decide to jack a car. So they jack this lady's car for her Porsche Macan. And they get into a high-speed chase with the cop. A cop pretty much can't keep up with them. Now, in some states, the cops aren't allowed to keep pursuing them. They have to back off. Now, if you try that down in Florida, where I'm at, or Georgia, they don't care. They're going to keep doing it till the wheels fall off. They're going to keep going. But other states is different. So they're up there in Seattle, Washington. Actually, it's a town outside of Seattle, but they're in Washington. So it's a little different out there, right?
He zips through traffic to catch up to it and follows the car onto I-5 while radioing updates to other officers.
Checking plate 04970.
It was just south of downtown where the car swerves and then takes off. The officer attempts to follow, but he can't keep up. The carjacked Porsche gets away from police, but investigators say the suspects inside it aren't done yet.
So they end up losing the cops, the police. And for one thing, I'm going to say is this. Now, when I went to another country, I went to a few. One of them, I went to Canada. I actually went there when I was on the run. And when I went there, I met a lot of people from Africa, like straight from there, pretty much fresh off the boat. And you had two different kinds of people. So you had the one person that would come over and they wanted an education. They didn't take it for granted, things like that. And you had the other person that would come over, and I guess they couldn't shake where they came from. They would come from these third world countries, and over in these places they came from, there's violence and crime and everything. So when they came over to Canada, they pretty much saw a lot of people as soft, and they would continue the same thing because they figured it was easier to do. So I'm not saying that's what happened with these two, but this is from my personal experience of seeing some of that, right? So maybe that's why these two were, doing what they were doing. They were in unfortunate circumstances to where maybe their family couldn't afford certain things, and maybe they decided to do this. But that's still no excuse. No excuse for what they did, right? So these bozos go around doing this stuff knowing there's cameras everywhere. After they take the Porsche, they end up taking the lady's credit cards, like they stole her purse and things like that. They take the credit cards, and then they end up going to a store. And then inside the store, they end up buying gift cards or the credit cards. And the reason why you do that, for you guys that don't know, they want to get cash back, or they want to go buy stuff. So what you would do is you would buy $100, whatever you can, in gift cards with a real credit card. Then you take those gift cards and you can go to other stores and cash them out and things like that. That's pretty much what they were doing. Only issue is when you swipe a stolen credit card, that transaction's recorded. So when that transaction's recorded, now the cops can look and see the exact time, the date, the second you swipe that card, and your face is on camera.
QFC grocery store in Normandy Park. Another camera captures that Porsche SUV pull into the parking lot. The driver gets out, then the passenger, and it's here where we see a clear shot of who police identify as Salman Haji. Next to him, police say that is then 19-year-old Illis Abdi. Police say they are using the credit card of the woman they just carjacked to buy gift cards. After a few minutes, that video shows them take the gift cards and leave, getting back into the Porsche SUV.
I don't know when y'all gonna learn. Y'all never gonna learn. Faces on camera because y'all swiping stolen credit cards. But hopefully y'all watching this and you might learn something. So they swipe these cards, right? Anyways, as they're leaving the store, that was not good enough for him. No way it wasn't good enough for him. What did they decide to do?
To steal her purse. There's a struggle, and the passenger, 67-year-old Yuan Ming, tries to help her sister. You can't see it here, but inside the car, police say Haji hits the driver with his gun, then shoots Ming in the chest.
Now, this lady put up a fight. Her and the lady's sister. The sister gets involved. They put up a fight. So they end up shooting one of them and unaliving her. Right then and there, they take off, right? So when they take off, investigators are investigating things like that. They abandoned the SUV. They abandoned, and when they abandoned the SUV, they try to wipe it down, but I guess they didn't wipe it down good enough.
Now, according to charging documents, crime scene investigators found 2 sets of prints on this SUV, one matching Salman Haji and the other coming back to Illis Abdi.
They found some fingerprints on him, right? So they found the fingerprints, and then they, put the fingerprints in the data system and supposedly ran back to these 2 kids. Not only that, there was a local Facebook page got a hold of it, and the Facebook page pretty much outed one of the kids. So what did the kid do? The very next day, he left and he flew the country. He left and went out to Africa.
While police were still quiet, a social media account known for posting about gangs and crime in Seattle made a post identifying Haji as the Costco killer. Within a day, investigators say Haji came here to the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport and boarded a flight. Investigators say he went to Africa.
Now, it's unfortunate circumstances what happened, but I mean, hey, that's what you're supposed to do if you're a fugitive, right? You're supposed to leave the country. So that's step one. He did the right thing. Only thing about it is he did the wrong thing by doing some crime to begin with, right? But he left the country. Now, here's another part that, when you leave the country, you got to use your passport, right? You got to get on the plane. Now, when I did what I was doing, I didn't get on no planes. I was trying to cross with feet. I wasn't doing no planes. I was trying to drive, whatever. I took a boat. I wasn't doing no planes. All that stuff is recorded. So he got on the plane with a passport with his real name. So that leaves a paper trail. They knew where he flew into and everything else. Before all that happened, though, remember, they knew about him. He was a suspect. But the problem was, even though they knew he was a suspect, they could not arrest him, probably because he didn't snitch on himself. They didn't have enough evidence. And what I mean by snitching on himself is cops will take you to an interrogation room, right? And when they take you into an interrogation room, they will ask you, where were you this day? What's your name? Where is this? Do you know this person? They ask you all these questions because they want you to tell on yourself. Think about this. When they read you your rights, right? One of the things they say is anything you say will be used against you. They don't say possibly, maybe. They say will. But y'all too dumb to remember this. So he probably didn't snitch on himself. That's one thing. So they didn't have enough evidence to, put him in jail. And that's unfortunate circumstances, right? So he was able to take off. Now, when he took off, he's in Africa living his life. His friend stayed here. What did his friend do? Continue doing more crimes.
Then, a few weeks later, there was another shooting down the road in Kent. In this case, a teenager was shot in the head and killed, and there was no connection at the time to the Costco shooting. But as Kent investigators dug into it, they came up with a suspect, Illis Abdi. And in May of 2024, Abdi was arrested for the Kent shooting, and then the next week, he and Haji were both charged with the murder of Yuan Ming. While Abdi was now in jail, investigators turned their attention to figuring out how to get Haji back to Washington. Like everything in this case, they kept their work quiet.
So his friend popped somebody else, right? And when he popped somebody else, now it's all back on the radar, right? Now, there's a couple things you're probably asking yourself, like, okay, so the one that's in Africa, how did he get caught? What happened? They're not really saying how he got caught, but I can kind of tell you there's a few things, right? So you have Interpol. Interpol is an agency that can go from country to country and take you back. Now, there's certain countries that they have it's called extradition. So let's say if the kid would have went to Belize or another country, I think Russia's one of them, they can't just go into Russia and get him and arrest him and bring him back. But he went to a place that works with America so they could bring him back. He didn't know any better, maybe. So he's in Africa living under a fake name, y'all. He's got a whole fake name he's living under. I don't know if he's got documents. That's part they're not saying, but he was living under a fake name. So there's a couple of reasons of how he got caught, which I'm thinking. He probably stayed in contact with his friend or family members of the friend or friends of the friend. And the friend probably knew where he was at and knew he was living under a fake name. So when the friend got caught for the second shooting and they arrested him, he probably told and was like, yeah, he's living under this name over there. Now they do a database sweep. I explained this before. Database sweep is when they try and locate somebody by looking at all the Googles, all the social medias, everything, and seeing what addresses and phone numbers you're putting in. So if they know the fake name and they see the fake name associated with the address, they got him. Another thing is too, in Africa, you remember this guy was already doing crimes here, right? So he could have been doing crimes in Africa. He probably got caught. Now, I'm not going to say he did, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did. Got caught, went to jail there in Kenya. They fingerprinted him, and his fingerprints came up. Red flag, wanted from America. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, how does that happen? Does fingerprints go worldwide? Really, no, it doesn't. But what could have happened is they already remember. They knew he flew into Africa, right? If they know he's in a certain place, then what they can do is send the fingerprints to Kenya. Because remember, they already got the fingerprints from these idiots leaving inside the truck. So they took the fingerprints and they sent it to Kenya. And they're like, here, Kenya, if this kid pops up with these fingerprints, this is him. We need him. We gonna get him and bring him right back.
Then earlier this month, Salman Haji was booked into the King County Jail and given a bail of $5 million. The FBI says they tracked him down in Nairobi, Kenya, and brought him back to Seattle. With both suspects now in custody, the next step here is for the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Critical to that will be some of those videos that you have just seen. Now, Ilis Abdi, who's been in custody for more than a year, he has pleaded not guilty to these charges. Salman Haji, of course, he was just brought back to the United States last week. He hasn't faced a judge yet. We expect that to happen late next week.
And I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That was his downfall. Now he is back in America, back in Washington, facing these charges.
From Kenya to a courtroom in Kent, Salman Haji now back in the U.S. to face murder charges for the January 2024 killing of 67-year-old Yuan Ming in Tukwila.
My mother was murdered in the public by this guy, and he should not be shielded from the public now.
Ming's family emotional in court, as this was the first time they've seen Haji since police say he fled the country after killing Ming.
When I was in the run, I didn't commit no crimes. I actually went to college and I actually started some businesses. I turned my life around while I was on the run, right? No longer on the run anymore. Turned myself in. Just, you got to get the book, get the story. Hopefully I can get this movie put out too. Fugitive TV, we are out.